And good morning, my friends. It is almost Friday. For this show, I am leaving the trigger warning up for just a few seconds longer than I normally do. If you have followed the case of the Slender Man stabbings, I think I can say that on YouTube, you know that it is beyond disturbing. Mary Beth Carswell, member for 5 months. Woohoo! Welcome, welcome. Glad you are here. Who did I miss before the show? Well, I know somebody I can't miss. Walking Dead. You know why? Because today is her birthday. Before we get to the show and tell everyone hola, let's give a very, very special shout out to our friend Walking Dead. Today is her birthday. Girlfriend, we go back a couple of years now, don't we? Just adore you. You are so funny. I love your comments. I love your recaps of the show you send me afterwards. You know, your positivity and just your heart in general. You are a fabulous person. Happy birthday. You deserve the best. So does Wist. She's been a member for 24 months. 24 months. I'm starting to blush over here. The hell did I do to deserve all this? Well, if we're done raising hell, because last night was quite a night trying to get people to understand another case, but we will worry about that later. Because I could not believe what I woke up to. And that is one of the convicted, not accused, not alleged, not suspected, convicted stabbers in the Slender Man case wants to be released. Now, I've been following this case since it happened, almost 10 years ago. This happened May 31st, 2014. That is when Anissa Weir and Morgan Geyser decided to play hide and seek with their supposed friend Peyton. But the outcome of the game was way more sinister because they were trying to impress Slender Man. When I first heard about this case, I said, this makes no damn sense. What the hell is going on here? First off, I don't know who the hell Slender Man is. Okay? I played Atari growing up. And I didn't go chasing around little bots or anything, or try to do anything to my friends to impress the Atari. But that is what these two girls did. I don't know, is Madam Secretary in here? Because I'm probably going to need her help with a couple of things on here. Because it is nuts. Before we get to it, and of course you guys get to play jury today, just like every day. Tell me what you think. But before we get to it, welcome your neighbor. Say, thank God it's almost Friday. Look at Snow being all politically correct. Snow, my goodness. Did you find Jesus overnight? Christina said in there from my home state, look at Snow. Peace be with you, neighbors. Did you fall and hit your head, Snow? Everybody check on Snow. Of course, we haven't put a hot man up yet. That's okay. We'll get to it. Whew. Now, when this case happened, I was in the minority because I didn't jump on the parental blame game. Because even with the heinous nature of this crime, attempted murder, I still to this day do not see how any of these parents could have foreseen something so sinister and so brutal. And it is. Here is a little map. This is where, in the state of Wisconsin, this attempted murder took place. Now, I am going to mess this name up. It's Waukesha, Wisconsin. Anissa and Morgan pinned down Peyton, and they stabbed her 19 times. Arms, legs, stomach. They said less than a millimeter from a major artery in her heart, which is news to me. I thought every artery in your heart was major, but they said major artery. And a cyclist, thank God, found Peyton. Now, we know what the internet does. Before any information came out, people were immediately saying that the parents did it, and then they were blaming the cyclist. This is the reason that people don't want to do the right thing anymore. But, as we know, the cyclist nor Peyton's parents did anything to her. Because through many psychological exams, it came out that Anissa and Morgan, let me put their pictures up. I think we understand where we're talking about in Wisconsin. These are the convicted. It came out that they believed that the big M against Peyton would appease Slender Man. This is a true story. Morgan Geyser was born in 2002, and this is what I need Christina's help with, because she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. They said she struggled with delusions and hallucinations. Okay, I'll give you that part, but I did not know, because I'm not a doctor, okay? I did not know that schizophrenia could manifest at such a young age. Again, that's why I don't have a DR in front of my name. All right. They were both found not guilty by reason of insanity. Charges for Morgan, attempted first-degree intentional homicide, and for Anissa, attempted second-degree intentional homicide. Morgan has been institutionalized at Winnebago Mental Health Institute. We're going to talk about that today because now Morgan wants out. She says she's all better. She's cured. She's all cured. Time to take that Band-Aid off. I'm thinking no. Anissa was released and she will be under supervision until the age of 37. And I hope they are keeping a tight watch on her. They said that Morgan's schizophrenia was continually left untreated, and it led her to remain in a state of psychosis or out of touch with reality. Well, schizophrenia, last I checked, is not contagious. So how the hell did she talk Anissa into a game of hide and seek where the grand prize was trying to kill Peyton in order to please Slender Man? These are dangerous, dangerous girls. They had a lot of research before all of this went down. There are many notebooks. They used dolls to know where to injure Peyton. Notebook after notebook after notebook. They even had a list of supplies. Supplies necessary. Pepper spray. Map of forest. Camera. Spray bottle. Does that say cheesecake? I can't read the writing. Weapons and flashlights. Also on their list was the will to live. Stephanie said Slender Man is fake. Yeah, Slender Man is fake. But you couldn't have convinced Morgan and Anissa of that. Peach State said so they weren't too crazy if it was premeditated. Now, that's what my uneducated mind would say. But either way, this is one of the spookiest things I've ever come across. Let's look at a segment from Criminal Minds Uncovered. I will drop it in the chat. They put together a fantastic video that gives us a better understanding of what went on.
Let's play a game. Go to the woods. Can you find me?
We are about to embark on our hunt for Slender Man.
What's going on? Man, there's something out there.
The Slenderman captivated our childhood as a cultural phenomenon. During our teen years, we immersed ourselves for hours in Slenderman sightings.
Okay, not my childhood. My childhood was listening to my mother bitch about standing in line to get a Cabbage Patch doll, strawberry shortcake, but my sister was Miss Fancy Pants because she had every Barbie known under the sun, Care Bears, and Rainbow Bright. So when they say Slender Man was a part of our childhood, safe to say Slender Man wasn't a part of mine.
Reading numerous forums and message boards for hours in search of credible evidence that proved his existence. The boundary between fiction and reality dissolved in the glow of our computer screens. What if the anchor holding us back had loosened, leading us to wholeheartedly accept that every eerie tale and mysterious sighting was unquestionably real? Back in 2014, two 12-year-old girls became utterly absorbed by the lore of the Slender Man.
Two young girls allegedly stabbing their 12-year-old friend, leaving her to die in the woods. She survived. And why did they do it? Authorities say for a fictional character on the internet.
Anissa Weir was born on November 10, 2001, to parents Bill and Christy Weir. Her best friend Morgan Geyser was born on May 16, 2002, to Matt and Angie Geyser. Both girls were raised in Waukesha, Wisconsin, and forged a strong relationship from an early age, first crossing paths at Horning Middle School in the autumn of 2013. Little public information is available about Anissa and Morgan's personal lives, yet it seemed both teenagers hailed from fairly average, ordinary families. In earlier school years...
Okay, my understanding is, if I'm reading all of the articles correctly, because a lot of studies have been done on these two girls, and I mean a lot. Big words that I have to have Christina interpret for me. That these two girls were extremely isolated. Extremely isolated. Like creepy so. Extremely. So when they brought Peyton into... They have a different... They bring a totally different definition to the Mean Girls Club. They weren't wearing pink on Wednesdays. But JM and other people have said exactly this. This is why you don't let a child go online and be free to view this stuff. I agree. I saw something about after-school activities. Used to love that. Tennis, piano lessons. I mean, you name it. Those days are gone. I hate to say it. Those days are gone. And I do not know how parents do it these days. Because when I was growing up, it was stranger danger, don't answer the phone, don't answer the door. And I mean, that was pretty much it. Now the stranger is in the TV, the phone, the computer. And these kids do not know who they are communicating with.
Classmates depicted Morgan as intelligent and competent. However, as time progressed, a transformation occurred. Morgan developed an obsession with suicide and a fixation on the urban legend Slender Man. Firmly convinced that he was pursuing her, she even asserted that she was having telepathic exchanges with him. During this period, Anissa was introduced into the realm of creepypastas, a world that encompassed numerous stories about Slender Man. While attending school, Morgan forged a friendship with another classmate, Peyton Lautner, during the 4th grade. Peyton took the initiative to approach Morgan, striking up conversations after noticing her sitting alone. The duo spent considerable time together both during and after school. When all 3 girls were 12 years old, Anissa and Morgan became fixated on Slender Man. In late May 2014, Morgan received permission from her parents to host a sleepover for her birthday. She was allowed to invite 2 friends over, Anissa and Peyton, whom Morgan affectionately nicknamed Bella after Peyton's middle name Isabella. The girls frequently enjoyed sleepovers together, but this particular occasion felt markedly distinct from the usual gatherings.
You better believe it. Birthday party gone wrong. And they affectionately called her Bella, Peyton, because in 1st grade there were 2 Peytons in class. If your name is Jennifer, I think you remember what it was like in school when they'd say Jennifer and 5 people would raise their hands and say, here. So there's 2 Peytons. So they started calling her Bella. There's also another meaning to that. Now, if you look at this list of supplies, there are names next to it. These are not more accomplices. These are people that they believe they're communicating with to let Slender Man know that they are working on Slender Man's project. That is right. Not to get all religious, but this is friggin' demonic in my mind. This is demonic. But Course Fan isn't. Thank you for the super sticker, my friend.
The morning of May 31st, Anissa and Morgan enticed Peyton to David's Park under the guise of searching for the Slender Man. Leading up to the sleepover, the girls had discussed a plan to assault Peyton, influenced by the belief that Slender Man had commanded the murder of her. During police interrogations, Weir informed investigators that she had been warned that unless she carried out the killing of Peyton, Slender Man would murder her entire family. In their distorted perspective, Peyton was considered a selected sacrifice. While at the park, the girls engaged in a game of hide and seek, during which Anissa and Morgan suddenly attacked Peyton. Anissa tried to incapacitate Peyton, but her attempt was unsuccessful. Peyton understandably felt anger towards Weir and Geyser due to their violent actions, yet she remained in their company despite the distressing situation. Upon reaching a wooded area,
Imagine how scared Peyton was. Thinking that she's hanging out with her friends, birthday party. We're going to go play hide and seek. Pretty healthy game, if you ask me. Not like the way Sarah Boone plays it, but you know what I'm saying. And they attack her. They attack her. Again, great job by this channel.
Weir and Geyser forcefully brought Laudner to the ground, where Geyser proceeded to stab her a total of 19 times using a 5-inch kitchen knife, leaving her for dead, while Weir observed the assault from close proximity. Morgan Geyser inflicted multiple stab wounds on Peyton, targeting her chest, abdomen, arm, and leg. The examining doctor at the hospital later discovered 5 wounds on her arm, 7 on her leg, and 7 others across her torso. 2 of the wounds critically affected major organs, piercing her liver and stomach, while another stab narrowly missed a major artery by her heart by just a millimeter.
She is, in my medical opinion, she is lucky to be alive. She is lucky to be alive. And if you don't believe in demons, that means you have not been to Walmart lately. Okay? We have some real creepers on this earth.
Following the harrowing attack, Weir and Geyser fled the scene, purportedly to find Slenderman's mansion and inform him that the act had been carried out. Fortunately, a man named Greg Steinberg was cycling through the wooded area when he noticed Peyton lying on a patch of grass near the road.
What's the address of your emergency?
Waukesha County, Lynn. I'm transferring over a caller on Big Bend at the dead end just south of Rivera.
Okay.
Came upon a 12-year-old female. She appears to be stabbed.
She appears to be what?
Stabbed.
Stabbed?
Correct.
Okay.
Sir, you still there?
Yes.
Hi, sir. So are you with this 12-year-old female?
Yeah, she said she's having trouble breathing. She said she was stabbed multiple times.
Stabbed multiple times?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Are you with her right now?
Yes.
Is she awake?
She's awake.
Is she breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing. She said she can take shallow breaths. She's alert.
Okay, stay with her. We're sending the police department. Don't hang up, okay?
Oh,
hold on just a minute. Don't hang up.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on just a minute, sir. We're sending officers.
Okay.
Is there any assailant around?
I didn't even look. I don't see anybody.
Despite her injuries, she crawled from the dense undergrowth where she was attacked, desperately seeking assistance. Peyton managed to signal for help, catching the attention of Steinberg, who promptly contacted the authorities. An ambulance arrived shortly after his call. Laudner endured weeks in intensive care and was
Again, lucky to be alive. I'm not going to put the picture of her shorts back up, but they were covered in blood. Covered. Again, trigger warning for this show.
left with multiple physical and psychological scars as a result of the ordeal. Law enforcement officers began a search for Weir and Geyser, eventually locating them a few hours later, sitting by the side of the road near a furniture store along the I-94. The girls had walked approximately 5 miles from the woods. When approached by uniformed officers, they claimed they were en route to live with the Slender Man. Upon their apprehension by the police, a bloody knife was discovered in one of their bags.
To me, what was really, really strange about this case, we have seen many of interrogations on this channel. These young girls, early teens, Morgan and Anissa, here they are, did not seem to be intimidated, in my opinion, or scared to talk to the police. Now, they didn't have to do what's called a normal interrogation because these two were more than willing to tell the authorities all about Slender Man. Well, hello, Jeffrey. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Everybody, welcome, Jeffrey. I saw your comment in chat. You say you are good friends with Morgan.
Yeah, so for about a year I wrote her. I grew close to her. I spent hundreds of hours on the telephone with her, and I've even visited her on 4 occasions. I have artwork. You want to see artwork? I can show you some of her artwork. I can show you letters. I can maybe read some of her letters. Some of it's incredibly personal, but she's someone that I care about. I'm gonna be open and honest about that right now. She's someone that I'm close with. Right now she's obviously I'm not really sure exactly what's going on with your stream. It looks like you're just going over the case for the most part.
Well, and I'm going to do an update. I'm going through the backstory, people that need to get refamiliarized or familiar with the case. Then we're going to talk about Morgan wanting to be released. Now, not to get too personal, and if you can't answer it, I understand. Is this a romantic relationship that you're having with Morgan?
No, it's a close friendship. A very close friendship. And I'll just leave it at that. But I will say that she has had those kind of feelings towards me. It's something you kind of got a nip in the ass. So for I'm ex law enforcement. I'm retired law enforcement. I worked in the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department. And I retired because of my physical health. And throughout the years, I got really bored. And I found a hobby to do, writing criminals throughout America. So in the last year and a half, I've written over 300 murderers throughout America. And I correspond with them on different levels, emails, phone calls. But with Morgan Geyser, that is a different situation. That's a situation where I do care about her. And I've grown close to her. She knows my deepest, darkest secrets, and I know hers. I could tell you about horrible abuse that she suffered from her father, or I could tell you about some of her happy moments. I could tell you about what she wants to do with her future. I can tell you, I mean, it's endless. It really is. What I know about Morgan Geyser and my interactions with her.
Well, and that's nice of you to take time out of your day to write her letters, keep her company. Even the worst of the worst, needs some sort of company. And I'm not saying she's the worst of the worst. I do believe she's a very sick person.
Yeah, she's a schizophrenic. So she is a schizophrenic. Now throughout the years, she spent 10 years inside, 8 of the years, 8.5, I believe, inside of Winnebago Mental Health Institute. It's a hospital that actually myself has been in. I spent a month there at one point.
Is that how you met her, or is it through writing letters?
No, writing letters is how I met her. Now, I was inside of Winnebago Mental Health Institute in 2017 from a suicide attempt because, I went through a divorce and, I had 2 kids and my wife said something horrible to me and I attempted and I ended up inside of Winnebago. And I can tell you that Winnebago is a hospital that works and treats with you all hours of the day. It's the best hospital I've ever been in, and I've been in a lot of them throughout the years. I am a bipolar myself, depression, anxiety, that kind of shit. But the schizophrenia is on a different level, and she's had 8.5 years of treatment. So my interactions with her were on 4 visits. Each time was 2 hours. The last time was a 3-hour visit on Father's Day of last year. But
there's some questions in the chat. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
ask me anything.
Okay, now these are respectful questions because we're just, a lot of people are just remembering this case because it's been almost, 10 years. Some are getting familiar now, and we appreciate you coming up to share your story. What would be the age difference between you and Morgan? My understanding is she's 21.
Yeah, I'm 42 years old. I am. This is kind of why. So when I write criminals, they do get flirtatious and shit like that. Nothing I'm looking for, nothing like that. I can meet women in the real world. Like if I were to hit my camera, you'll see that I'm not gonna have a problem finding a woman in the real world.
Mhm.
That's not why I do it. I actually collect stuff. If you get my drift, you ever heard of murderabilia?
Yeah, I'm not
So
into.
I have an immense collection that would blow your mind. Um,
Mhm.
what I do, it's a hobby. It's at this point, it's a collection that's going to be passed down and sold one day by my kids later on in life.
Like
Um,
on eBay?
no, you can't sell it on eBay. So like these kind of things, like art, I got all kinds of artwork from people, but these kind of things are sold to other collectors that are like me, mostly through like I can name all kinds of websites that called collectibles, murder auction. If you just do a simple Google search of those websites, you'll see that there's entire communities basically. Also on Facebook Marketplace, there's all kinds of communities that sell this stuff and trade this stuff. I'm a big trader. I don't like dealing with money too much. Trading is more up my alley, but Instagram, any social media, that's the big one. But it's everywhere. eBay doesn't allow it at all, for obvious reasons, you know.
Well, I learn something new every day. Okay, so let's get back to you speaking to Morgan. I'm only going to get your opinion because obviously you're not her doctor or anything. You just have a relationship with her. Do you believe that she would be, well, not her, but the community would be safe if she is out and about?
I 100% believe Morgan Geyser is safe to society. She is a danger to herself if she goes into a schizophrenic state. That's basically what's kept her in a little bit longer than Anissa. Um, she absolutely regrets what she did to Bella. She calls her Bella all the time. She's cried to me about it. 100%. That woman, I know a lot of documentaries and stuff, they pass her off like she doesn't have emotions. I've seen every emotion from that woman, whether it be love, because she does got a little thing for me. I've seen anger, like I pissed her off a few times, you know, when I had to tell her chill out a little bit here. Um,
I don't think I'd want to make her mad between you and me.
Sadness. No, I honestly, I'm an ex-correction officer. I can defend myself against anybody for the
Okay.
most part, within reason. Morgan, I never once for a second, not for 1 second, felt any kind of a threat, any kind of she's gonna do nothing. Honestly, she was one of the, and I don't want you guys thinking I'm completely insane, because I know this sounds crazy to the average person, but she's one of the sweetest people I've ever met on the planet. And I do mean that. I know it sounds insane. And I know I'm rambling here, but my answer is I do believe she's safe to society. And given the specific guidelines on the conditional release is going to give her a jump to the right start. And she needs to learn how to deal with, take her own meds, you know, not on a time basis by a nurse. Okay, she needs to learn how to take those meds by herself, properly. Not we're not taking 2 or 3 at a time. Not saying she has like any issues. I'm just saying, she needs to learn how. If she's on her meds, absolutely she's safe to everybody, including herself. But if she's off of her meds, I believe she's only a threat to herself. I don't think she would ever harm another human being. And matter of fact, she's never had one physical altercation inside of the institution, other than her getting sexual assaulted by another patient. We'll call him there.
Well, they should be keeping better watch. That's horrible. Sarah has a question. Is
Yeah.
Morgan still friends with Anissa?
Absolutely not. They are 100% worst enemies. Worst enemies. There's not another person on the planet that Morgan has more distaste for than Anissa, and she's spoken to me greatly about that. A lot of it stems from the incident, obviously. She never really went into great detail about that day. It's something that I never really talked to her about that too much. You don't want to pressure them to talk about certain things, otherwise they're going to shut down. and stop. So it's something I never talk about unless she brought it up. But as for Anissa, they are worst enemies.
And that's very interesting considering they masterminded this to please
Yeah.
Slender Man together. But that happens
Absolutely.
quite a bit in these crimes. Once, people go down, they don't really want to hang around the old neighborhood, if you know what I mean. Tiffany, now this will be your opinion. You mentioned you're a father. How would you feel if the person that tried to kill your child
hmm
was now out and about?
That's a good question. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I've actually been asked a multitude of questions like this in more extreme ways. They asked me, how would you like it if some weirdo was collecting crap from a murderer that's killed your kid? So like, I am criticized a lot for what I do. Very good question. It's tough. I gotta say, I can sit here and say, I collect true crime stuff and that, and the other, but that wasn't really the question. The collecting is distasteful. I will say that, in some aspects.
Well, I think the collecting is self-explanatory, but the question is,
Yeah, I know the question. So the question is, would I feel is Peyton safe if Morgan was getting released and I was, let's say, Anissa's dad? No, I would be terrified, or I mean Peyton's dad. I would be terrified that she would reoffend or want to do something else, or of course I would have concerns, and I would want to protect my baby. I'd want to probably live near her or something. Who the hell knows? But yeah, I would definitely be concerned. Yeah.
well, I mean, I think as a society, we're all concerned, and I'm sure you can vouch for this as ex-law enforcement, retired, however you want to put it,
Yeah.
that the justice system is for the criminals. They get more justice than victims. We talk about it every day on this case. It's like, what about the victims?
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being
Let
Peyton,
me.
knowing
Yeah.
what she was led into for Slender Man, and
Mhm.
now it's, well, as long as they take their medication, they're going to be okay.
Yeah. So the thing with this case is one of the most unique cases in America. It's why it's got so much attention. It's two little girls that did something that's so unheard of. Like I cannot imagine my daughter right now or last year, because she's 13, doing that. I couldn't. My daughter is she's 100% pure angel. She wouldn't harm a butterfly. But here we got someone I'm close with that did do that. That she legitimately did, and Morgan did all of it when it comes down to the physical. Shit. Morgan was the. Dang it! I had to decline that call. I'm sorry. I don't know what that was. I hope that wasn't her. I hate to say it. Morgan might be calling me here in the next hour, 2 hours.
Bring her on. We're here. Bring her on.
No, I mean, listen, here's the thing. So me and her, we had a falling out. Like I wanted her to focus on her mental health. Okay. She needs to focus on the proper things. And I wrote her the other day for the first time in 3-4 months. I wished her the best. I wished her, I hope you get your conditional release. I hope follow the conditions. I wish the best for you. She's very, very bright. I told her how she could do what she can do for, she wants to be an author and shit like that. I know it sounds silly, but she's really, 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 really smart. I do think she'll be able to do something with her life one day, and
I don't doubt that she's very intelligent.
I'll prove that she's not. She'll prove that she's not a monster, is what I'm saying. Whether it's going into hiding, which is something I suspect she's going to do, because you guys want to see some pictures of her currently? I could show you a couple pictures.
Sure. Email them to me. It's unless you want to share the screen. I prefer to see them first to make sure they're YouTube appropriate.
Oh, they're YouTube. Absolutely, they're YouTube appropriate. Let me think. How can
Now,
I?
has she graduated from high school? Has she gotten any college credits while being?
I got this question asked to me yesterday because I do stream to I stream to like 3 people, which is how I like it. I don't like hundreds of people. And it's one of my friends asked me, did she go to school in that? And they got me thinking. Number one, I never asked her. And number two, I'm 100% positive. No, they didn't even offer it to her. But she never once talked about school. She's 21. She's going to be 22 here. I don't believe they offered her school. I was in Winnebago. I know they didn't offer school. I know their programs. It's Winnebago is focused on your mental health. It's not meant for people to be there 10 years either. Like, that's a mental health institution. That's not a prison. That's not like we're preparing this 12-year-old.
Well, I don't think she got an unfair break by any means, because they could have charged her as an adult, thrown out the schizophrenia, and she could be in an adult prison right now.
Yeah, she could be in adult prison for the sentence of 40 years to life. She could be. But she's not. She was found not guilty of reason of mental defect. So now we got a 12-year-old that is found not guilty of mental defect and sent to a mental health institute that doesn't have any schooling, because they don't have 12-year-olds there, number one. And if they do, they're only there for a couple months, a month for a suicide attempt or something. Something, Morgan guy, if you look up Winnebago Mental Health Institute and you go to Wikipedia, like their page, and you scroll down to the bottom, it's going to say notable patients. The only person there it says is Morgan Geyser. That place is not built for someone to be staying there 10 years as a kid, especially. But they are extremely helpful, and that is the hospital out of all hospitals. They saved my life. I got a connection with Winnebago that goes far beyond Morgan Geyser. They saved my life there because they gave me proper mental health treatment when other hospitals would kick me out in 2 days. And I talked to a psychiatrist for 30 minutes. That's supposed to fix me? No. Winnebago saved my life. Got me off of opiates too.
And that is wonderful. Dina Lynn has a question, and I can answer it, but I would prefer you answer it because, well, you're the guest and you're on the hot seat. Was Morgan on medication when she committed this crime?
Absolutely not. She was undiagnosed schizophrenic. Her mom refused. I'll sit here and blast her mom, Angie. I've actually spoken to her on Facebook. I 100% believe that there was a lot going on in that house. And as Morgan gets out, it is a very good facility. As Morgan gets out, her story will be told, whether it's directly out of her mouth or maybe she's writes something. I don't know. My brain is all over the place. I forgot where I was going.
I do need Christina's help with this because my uneducated eye to brain did not realize that schizophrenia can manifest so early, especially in a girl's life.
Yeah, okay. So it was early onset schizophrenia. You know, it's hard to diagnose someone with. I'm not a doctor here, okay? I'm just going off of.
Oh, no. That's the reason I said I was hoping that Christina would weigh in, and she may not be able to because she hasn't been able to, assist Morgan. It would be her opinion only, because that's one thing since this case came out almost 10 years ago, I couldn't wrap my mind around.
Here's the fact of the matter about the case and everything. It happened in 2012. I was still working at the jail. I was busy. I heard the case. I was shocked, of course. I went on with my life. When I actually got to talking to Morgan, she was the 8th person I ever wrote out of 100. Out of my first 100 people that I wrote, she was the 8th person, and she was the first person to respond to me. I did not know the case deep. I just wanted to talk to her as a person a little bit. And as I experienced Morgan and got to know her on the telephone, I didn't even want to know about the case. To be honest with you, I didn't. dig deep. To be honest, I didn't even watch the interrogation video where she's prancing around and acting where she's in that manic, schizophrenic state. So I had never seen those videos until after we had a falling out. I maybe let a month or two go by, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more about her past and the crime. And then I get to learn, all this stuff, and I'm shocked on a different level that this is the person. I knew Morgan Geyser for Morgan, not for some Slender Man girl. Okay.
Is it true that she has a really quick temper?
No, not at all. I pissed her off on levels that you guys listen. When the woman had feelings for me, and I pissed her off right to her face. And she did. If anything, the only her reaction was not anger; it was to shut down, and not like completely shut down, just to be a little bit quieter. We went on with our visit. That visit was a 3-hour visit where it was basically just it was only me and her in a conference room. There was no security. We had a nurse that walked past every 15 minutes to make sure there was nothing too crazy going on. That was a special 3-hour visit on Father's Day. That day was a trigger day for her. I should probably not went there. Her father was a piece of crap to her. She'll tell her story, but
well, before we get to that,
yeah.
Let's bring up our friend Christina.
Absolutely.
She is a professional, as professional can get, because I have a lot of questions about this diagnosis and I cannot answer them myself. So guys, let's have a huge welcome and round of applause to who I call Madam Secretary, our friend Christina. Welcome back, Christina. I have been bothering the hell out of you lately. You're probably like, I do not want to hear her voice for at least another month. But I have all kinds of questions about this. And Canadian Cookie, she smells what I'm stepping in. She said, I always thought the diagnosis for this was in the late teens to early 20s.
Yeah, generally it's after puberty, but there are cases of early onset schizophrenia, and she may not have had schizophrenia. It may have just been untreated delusions. And looking, I didn't study the case, so I've never met her. I'm trying to explain in the chat that there is something called morbid curiosity, and I think our friend on panel is probably someone who would consider himself part of that collective. Am I right?
I mean, that would be probably a fair diagnosis. Yes.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not a diagnosis. I mean, it's
Well,
just
I
it's
mean, a judgment. Yeah, I definitely have a morbid curiosity. Okay, so let me just say something. So I actually am diagnosed with suicidal intentions and I don't want to scare anybody. Homicidal ideations or idolations.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I hope you're getting treated for that. And when she says morbid curiosity, I guess you could say that for any of us in here.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody that watches true crime, that it gets into, people give me shit, but like anybody that gets into true crime and all that stuff, you guys are everybody who's looking at these crime scene videos, you can fall right there in that line with that too. You know what I mean?
Right there with you, buddy. But then some people take it to a different level, and I'm not saying that you do.
I do. I'm okay with it though.
Don't get it mixed up. And there's actually, Dr. Drew was talking about it. I think he is so handsome. I used to love Line with him. And he calls it death porn. There are some people that get so enmeshed into cases, it gets in the way of their daily life, and he calls it death porn. Now, again, I'm not saying that's you. I just wondered what Christina thought about that, but I really want to get back to this schizophrenia at such a young age.
So, like I said, she probably wouldn't have been diagnosed as schizophrenic at that time. It would have been like delusional ideation or paranoia. If she had treatment, it sounds like she never got treatment though. And if she came from a really bad home life, it doesn't surprise me.
Morgan
So
Geyser was on 0 medications until after the incident, and this is a fact. Her mother comes out in these documentaries, Beware the Slender Man. She will come out on those. I watched it many times now since then. She will come out and say, Angie will, that she didn't know. She didn't know. She just thought she was quirky. She never had a medication or nothing like that, and she was never diagnosed with any of this stuff until after the fact. Early onset schizophrenia diagnosis was Morgan Geyser at a young teenage age. If you look into this case and read about it, that's a fact.
yeah.
Her dad was full on schizophrenic, and now Morgan Geyser is also diagnosed schizophrenic now as an adult.
My worry though is that she's going to stop taking the medication, because a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times with schizophrenic patients, they start feeling great and, you know, everything's level and they think, oh, you know, I don't need the medication anymore. And they go off it and it's like a whole cycle.
Same
So
thing
that
with
would be
bipolars, like myself. Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. And I put in I'm from Wisconsin, Jeffrey. I have been to Winnebago, but as a medical or a psychology professional when I was at Madison, UW-Madison. So I will agree that is an excellent facility. And I'm sure she's received very good therapeutic care. But if she's let out,
anything's possible. Anything is possible.
yes,
Which is why these 3 psychiatrists that examine her need to really consider everything. Even though Anissa's out, Anissa was not the real problem here. I'm gonna be real. It was my friend Morgan. Like when it comes to the real, when you look at it, it was Morgan. Anything's possible. I really do have faith. I do have faith. A big problem, her support system. She needs a support system. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm gonna tell you, she doesn't speak to her mom anymore.
Oh, I'm sure she doesn't. She doesn't speak to Anissa. She needs to cut all of that off. And as I said at the beginning of the show,
she doesn't have a family member anymore. Is what I'm telling you.
Oh no, she needs to cut all of them off, whether they're dead or alive. She just needs to move on from that, because we want a safe society. And when
that's the problem though. Okay, so if you look at Anissa's conditional release, Anissa is mandatory. She has to live with Bill. She has to live with her father. She must. She had to wear ankle bracelets for 2 years. She had to attend programs. There, anger management, of course. No substances whatsoever. Take your medications. It's called a conditional release. There's a lot of conditions behind it. They don't just go, okay, Morgan, go. You can have a fun time now. She's gonna go to a safe house for, I don't know, 3 months, maybe longer, probably longer. She has no support system, and I think the best thing for Morgan, and I know you were saying she needs to move on, but that girl, I pray that her and her mom make up. Because if her mom don't take her in to be with her brother, because I don't know if you know she's got a brother, she does.
Yeah.
If somehow they could have a stable family between the 3 of them, because the dad's gone now, he's dead. I don't know what else Morgan can do. She has no family. She has no friends. Her only friend is me and a guy named Dylan, who's on the run. Okay. So where's she supposed to go? It's scary. Like, not scary. What's that?
Are you considering letting her come live with you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. No. I have my own issues. I got my own shit I got to figure out in life. I can't maintain a friendship or a relationship. No, certainly not.
Well, I'm just getting that out of the way before it's asked.
Would I feel safe with having Morgan Geyser sleeping in the same room as me? Yes, I would. But I would not take her in because of my own problems, my own issues, my own demons, for that matter.
And let's get this straight for the chat. You know, we're talking to a friend of Morgan's. He's already made it clear she's not going to come live with him. There's nothing romantic going on. And Peyton is the victim. I understand Anissa has her issues. Morgan has her issues. Jeffrey said that Anissa has to live with Bill. Has to live with Bill. God bless Bill, because if I was Bill, I'd say, keep her in there. That is way too much responsibility for me. Call me a horrible parent, but if I was Bill, I'd say, hell to the no.
Okay, so if that was your daughter, you would tell, you would say, stay the fuck inside. Oh, stay inside of your, stay inside for how long? Until your daughter could, or daughter or son or whoever could get out.
Well, the way I would look at it is if I couldn't keep up with my child for the first 12 years to the point that they attempted to murder one of their friends because of Slender Man, I don't think I'd roll the dice again with that offspring. But that's just me.
So, I'm sorry, I have these people texting me, my friends. Oh, can I go on mute for a couple minutes?
Yeah, sure. We're going to get back to the video and we're going to get caught up.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Mute away. Okay, so this is the aftermath from the Slender Man stabbing.
During the interrogation regarding the attack, Weir displayed remorse, while Geyser did not exhibit similar sentiments.
What were you trying to do with her when you stabbed her?
Kill her. Tried to get up. She said that she couldn't see, she couldn't walk, and that she couldn't breathe.
Did you tell her you were going to go get help? Did you want to actually get her help?
No.
Determining which girl instigated the initial assault proved challenging, as both accused the other. Nevertheless, it was inferred that Morgan Geyser was likely the one who formulated the plan to kill Peyton Lautner, an idea initially discussed between the girls either in the late December of 2013 or in January of 2014. Both girls underwent trial in a court of law, and despite their status as children, they were tried as adults due to the severity of the crime and their evident intent to kill. At first, both Anissa Weir and Morgan Geyser pleaded not guilty on grounds of mental health issues.
And again, many other states do this. They understand there's a mental issue with every criminal. Sorry. There's a bad daddy, bad mama, mental health issue with anyone that would try to take the life of another. That right there is the only medical advice I have for you today. They are so lucky that they received this mental health hospitalization as opposed to being sent to the big house with adults, because they would not have fared well.
They wouldn't have been sent to the state pen just because of their age. They would have been put in just in a youth rehab facility. But they would have been segregated.
And then moved to the prison.
Right.
Okay. So you're telling me that Law and Order on NBC lied to me, Christina?
Well, I'm just saying what, in my experience, that's what would have happened. They'd be too young to go to the women's facility in Wisconsin.
Okay.
They would have gone to like a youth. I can't remember the name. There's one. I haven't lived there for a while. Anyway, there is a very good one. They would have both been segregated from each other for sure. And then the rest of the population, because a lot of those girls would be in for like drug crimes or, some smaller, much smaller crimes.
Wist said there just isn't any excuse for what they did to Peyton. I'm not seeing it either. I'm not saying that either of the girls, Morgan or Anissa, came from a Leave It to Beaver type household. I mean, I'm not seeing that at all. But to lure, or I say lure, plan meticulously this heinous crime, and they wanted, they left her to die. They expected her to die. And this was all for Slender Man. Again, they're lucky that they got the route that they got.
However, later on, both opted for plea deals to circumvent imprisonment. In December 2017, Anissa Weir received a 25-year sentence in a mental health facility after ultimately pleading guilty to being an accomplice to an intentional second-degree murder. She was deemed not guilty by reason of insanity. Morgan Geyser was sentenced to 40 years in a mental health hospital after pleading guilty to attempted first-degree intentional murder. To avoid trial, Geyser underwent extensive evaluations by mental health professionals, revealing an early onset of schizophrenia, a condition her dad had also experienced in his youth. Prosecutors reached a plea deal where Geyser wouldn't face criminal liability, but would instead be committed to a mental health facility. Subsequently, Geyser was also declared not guilty by reason of insanity. In 2021, Anissa Weir sought to appeal her sentence, expressing remorse for her role in the stabbing. In September, permission was granted for Anissa's release from the Winnebago Mental Health Institute, with several conditions imposed to restrict her movement beyond Waukesha County, including the utilization of a GPS tracker. These conditions also encompass supervised internet usage and regular counseling, all while remaining under the custody of her dad. Then, in September 2023, the judge decided to remove Weir's GPS monitor, although she continues to undergo monitoring. Following Weir's release, Peyton and her family relocated from the county.
And I don't think anybody could blame Peyton and her family for leaving the county because they knew this was eventually going to happen. They knew that eventually Anissa and Morgan would be released. And I do not blame them at all for saying, no, we're not going to live here if they're out. I Plead the Fifth said, has Peyton weighed in on them getting out? I have not read anything.
Well, there's been nothing. I know this case to the point where I could probably answer anything, but no, there's been nothing from Peyton.
Okay.
And there's been nothing from Anissa since she's been out as well. Like, she just disappeared.
And it does have some similarities to the niece case, but that was this is so different because of the whole we have to do this for Slender Man. I really thought in the beginning that Morgan and Anissa were making this up just so they could play the mental health card. Well, it turns out through all the planning and all the notebooks that came out, that's definitely what they were doing. All right, so this is what erupted yesterday.
A Slender Man case update tonight. Morgan Geyser was back in a Waukesha County courtroom today in her bid to be released early from her 40-year commitment to a state mental health facility. Geyser's request follows a successful request by Anissa Weir last year. Our Bill Miston was in court this afternoon, and Bill, this is going to be some time before a decision is made.
That's right, Brett. Months. And this is just the first step in Geyser's attempt to get released from that mental health facility. Her co-defendant, Anissa Weir, was released early last September, and now Geyser is seeking her own release. Wearing jail-issued clothing, the now 20-year-old Morgan Geyser appearing before Judge Michael.
Okay.
That's not her currently. That's her like 3 years ago. Couple things. This was Thursday. This wasn't yesterday. This happened Thursday. This conditional release and all this, these news articles and stuff like that. That's not Morgan right now. That was her about 3 or 4 years ago. I could show you pictures of her right now if you want. And she's not wearing jail clothes or nothing. Like when she goes to the courthouse, yeah, she has to, but she actually wears street clothes inside the institution. She dresses like any other teenage girl or young 22-year-old woman or whatever. But she looks nothing like that right there. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, if you want to email them to me, it is cll72020@gmail.com. And I'm not putting together a fashion spread for Morgan.
No, you don't need to.
we're basically talking about should she be released or not? Because I do see a difference between her crime and Anissa's crime, because she is the one that carried out brutal attack.
Absolutely, I agree too. She's the one that was actually physically doing it. It was CLL. I'm sorry.
72020@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you.
Born for the first time since she was sentenced to 40 years in the Winnebago Mental Health Institution. Geyser petitioned the court for conditional release earlier this month.
Has to appoint doctors within 20 days.
Those doctors will examine Geyser and submit a report to the court, which will then determine if Geyser can be released early and under what conditions. Statutes require one or more doctors be appointed.
I'm thinking I'd appoint 3, one that the state selected, one that the defense selected, and the court will select the third one.
Geyser's family was in the gallery as doctors were appointed by Judge Boren. Prosecutors say Peyton Leitner was lured to a wooded area in Waukesha by Geyser and Wire after a sleepover in May 2014. Geyser stabbed her repeatedly as Wire urged her on. They claimed it was to appease the fictional horror character Slender Man. Peyton was left for dead but crawled out and was found by a bicyclist. Wire and Geyser were later found walking on Interstate 94. The two later pleaded guilty but were sent to Winnebago for treatment. Last year, Wire petitioned and was granted conditional release to live with her father on GPS monitoring. Similar restrictions would be likely if Geyser is granted her request. Now, those reports are to be filed with the court by late in August, and then a hearing is going to be scheduled to hear arguments related to those reports as to whether or not Geyser's request will be granted. Reporting in Waukesha, Bill Miston, Fox 6 News.
We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Bill.
Oh, I bet they will, because this is a case that I'm sure they will never, ever come across again. Jeffrey Mermaid has a question. Thank you, Mermaid, for being a member for 15 months. Jeffrey, have you been to any of her hearings?
I have not been into any of her hearings. She really has these conditional releases that are going on. This is her 3rd attempt. The other 2 attempts were not denied conditional release. She chickened out last second. She has I believe she's just scared to she doesn't know how to move forward with her life. She's institutionalized, let's put it that way. I actually believe that she will not be denied a release to society. I believe that if she remains in Winnebago Mental Health Institute, it's her decision, not the psychiatrist. She won't let it get to that level. She'll pull her conditional release beforehand, or she'll let it follow through and she'll let the psychiatrist evaluate her, like she's supposed to. And it'll go to the judges and they'll determine it for the first time ever. Because the judges and the psychiatrists have actually never worked hand in hand together and made this determination. There's never been any kind of determination. This is her 3rd time. But the other 2 were, she pulled it because of basically having a fear of society. Moving on, I got to tell you, if you look at the pictures here, you can see it. She's very identifiable. She would not blend in with society. You'd be able to point her out in a crowd. She still looks like Morgan Geyser. She still has that look. But yeah, the email was sent, and actually I've communicated with you in the past. I think I might have sent you some Sarah Boone letters or something in the past or something like that. Because
yes, because you've been writing letters to Sarah.
There you go. Yeah, that's me.
I knew your voice sounded familiar. Now we're looking.
That's me. Yeah. So yeah, well, what about that? Oh, okay, we don't got to talk about that. But that's Morgan currently at 21 years old. It's Morgan Geyser.
Well, and like you said, she would blend right in.
Do you think she would blend in with society, or do you think her walking past her? Okay, let me ask you this: you're walking in Target. You walk past her. Do you recognize that's Morgan Geyser? I would in a heartbeat, but maybe it's because.
Well, you would be association with her. If I passed her at the grocery store, no, because that's not the pictures that I'm familiar with. So I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, that's Morgan Geyser. I'm gonna leave my cart right here. I can't believe they're letting her shop here.
That's good. Then she can maybe move on with her life and like go shopping or get a job. She has a lot to learn. You know, I'm going to tell you this. She is a grown woman when it comes to her physical being and her feelings and emotions and stuff like that. But there is a part of her that is still childlike to a degree. You got to realize that the only thing she knows about society is what she sees in movies. And being inside of the institution myself, you really don't get too many opportunities to watch movies quietly, peacefully, and she has no idea what real life is like. You know what I mean? Like, she just turned 12 when this happened.
Is that Slender Man on her necklace?
No, that is actually Phantom of the Opera. It's a big part of her putting on a mask. Her putting on a mask because of it has a lot to do with abuse of her father. She explained to me. She puts on a mask to hide to keep the she likes. It's something I don't think she's fully dealt with yet, to be honest with you. She's spoken to me in great detail about what he's done to her, and it's not good. And she has a pelvic dysfunction disorder. She carries around a lot of trauma. She carries around a lot of trauma physically and mentally from that, and a lot of it, she masks a lot of it. And a Phantom of the Opera is something that she's big into, and that's a Phantom of the Opera necklace.
Okay, I see. Pelvic disorder? The hell?
Yeah. So okay, I don't want to. It's literally, or it's shattered.
Yeah, I'm afraid to even ask.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the 911 call, because we really, before we as a community can make our minds up, which everyone has their own opinion, we agree to disagree here, but we have to pay attention to this heinous crime and how bizarre and disturbing it is before we play get out of jail free around here.
What's the address of your emergency?
Waukesha County, Lenny. I'm transferring over a caller on Big Bend. That's a dead end just south of Rivera.
Okay.
Came upon a 12-year-old female. She appears to be stabbed.
She appears to be what?
Stabbed.
Stabbed?
Correct.
Okay.
Sir, you still there? Yes.
Hi, sir. So are you with this 12-year-old female?
Yeah, she says she's having trouble breathing. She said she was stabbed multiple times.
Stabbed multiple times?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Are you with her right now?
Yes.
Is she awake?
She's awake.
Is she breathing?
Yeah, she's breathing. She said she can take shallow breaths. She's alert.
Okay, stay with her. We're sending the police department. Don't hang up, okay?
Oh,
hold on just a minute. Don't hang up.
You know, that's one thing about not just this crime, but every crime we discuss on this channel. It is such a web. It is such a web that so many people get pulled into. Not only, of course, Peyton is definitely the victim here. Definitely the victim. But imagine the trauma her parents went through. Law enforcement who have never seen anything so sinister before in their lives. And then this poor man, the cyclist that came across her. You can't tell me he's not experiencing some kind of trauma for the Slender Man game.
What about you can carry on to all of those classmates that had to deal with, multiple friends of theirs being monsters. You got these two monsters over here, and then you got one that got attacked. Like, it's scary. Like, this world is a scary place.
Yeah, that's a great point. The classmates, because they're sitting there going, hell, that could have been me.
Absolutely, could have been. If the circumstances were different, if they played with Morgan and Anissa instead of Peyton, it could have been them. Absolutely. When it comes down to it, it was really Morgan and Bella. They were best friends. And I'm gonna tell you, that girl will cry for Bella. But I just feel like, and it stinks because if Anissa wasn't around, I do not think that it would have happened, to be point blank. And I'm not blaming Anissa. It's just a butterfly effect of circumstances that carry on, like you said, not just through their lives, but dozens, if not hundreds of people are traumatized and have to deal with this every day. I'm gonna tell you right now. Me telling people this kind of stuff. I deal with people messaging me 24 hours a day, not from people just from in Wisconsin, all over the world. Germany, Australia, New Zealand. They want to talk about Morgan. They want to know about her. It's a constant. But anyways, but it carries on through. I believe in the butterfly effect, and I think that this trauma that from that day will carry on for forever amongst.
I call it a web. When there's a crime, there is a web. You know, there's the center of it. Well, think about it. You drop a stone into the water
Mm-hmm.
and it ripples out. So in the middle, you have your crime, but it disrupts all of this space around it. So while Peyton will be dealing with this for the rest of her life, and she is a strong, resilient woman.
Absolutely.
She seems to be overcoming this as well as she can. And thank goodness her parents are such amazing people. But it
Become
like
a nurse, I believe. I believe she's become a nurse, right?
I did hear that. I don't know if she's changed her mind because, you know, she was, you know, very affected by the way she was taken care of in the hospital. I mean, surgeons, nurses, the regular doctors doing their rounds. She was in, you know,
Yeah, they
intense.
said like 1 millimeter. It was like 1 millimeter or something. Like, and
She'll have to
Morgan.
see a cardiologist for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
She and that's the physical part. That's not even the counseling that she will have to go through forever to try to put this trauma in the rearview mirror. Is it possible? I don't know. She seems very resilient. But this 911 call where she was found, she was already strong, trying to communicate with the cyclist, hanging on to life by the skin of her teeth.
Okay.
Okay. Hold on just a minute, sir. We're sending officers. Is there any assailant around?
I didn't even look. I don't see anybody.
It's a dead end. Okay, stay right with her, sir. Is she on the ground or is she standing up?
No, she's laying on the grass.
Laying on the grass. Stay right with her. Just let me know if she is remaining conscious or not, okay?
Okay.
Is there any bleeding going on?
Her clothing has got blood on it.
Where are the wounds? Do you see where the wounds are?
No, I don't know if I should be rolling her over and checking or not. Do you know where?
Okay, just stay with her and just let me know if she's conscious or alert or stops breathing or anything. Hold on, I'm going to talk to the ambulance. Police are also en route.
Okay, thank you. I'm bothering you at all? My shade? Okay. You're very
Okay. Just keep her in that position. Just let me know on her breathing.
Okay.
What's your name, sir?
My name?
Your name.
My name.
Okay, were you just passing through?
Yes.
Okay, and you found her and she was just laying there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you see any active bleeding or blood spurting out or anything like that?
No, unless it's underneath her. I just see just dried blood.
Okay, just dried blood. Okay. Okay, is she still breathing? Is she still alert?
Yeah.
Okay, stay with her. Stay with her. Keep an eye on her. Hold on just a minute. Do not hang up, sir.
Okay, I will not. Who did that to you? Or don't you want to talk?
And she didn't say who did this or...
This poor man. He comes across this girl. He can see that she's been stabbed. And he's like, who did this to you? And she's trying to save her breath to live. This was seconds away from death. She has got a spirit of strength that I'm telling you, I don't think I could have made it. For one, I'm too lazy.
How would
I don't know if she wants to be talking. I started to ask her, and then
that's okay. If she's...
she's got to save her energy, I think.
Okay, but you see nobody else around you. Are you clearly visible when they pull down that road towards the dead end that they'll see you?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Are you clearly visible when they come down there so they see you?
I got a strobe flashlight on my bicycle. I'll shine that towards any emergency vehicle I see. and I'll be standing in the middle of the road.
You're in the middle of the road, and where's she? In the side of the road?
Yeah, she's on the grass. A little trail I take on my bicycle.
Okay. Okay, see. Don't hang up, sir. Just stay right with me.
Okay.
And let me know immediately if you see anything else suspicious in the area, a car, a person, anything.
All right.
Keep your eyes open. Was anyone coming or leaving, or any cars coming or leaving when you came upon her?
No.
Nothing?
No.
So were you on foot walking by, or did you pull up in a car?
Bicycle.
You're on a bicycle.
Yeah.
How did you see her? Did you just...
She's right in the middle of the little path I take.
Middle of the little path. Okay.
Yeah. There's a squad car coming now.
Okay. The squad car coming? Okay, flag the squad car down, protect her.
Here he's coming.
Does she have a bike or anything with her?
No, I don't see it. One sandal is off, but, maybe 3 feet away from her.
Okay, flag that officer down. I'm going to let you go. Okay? You meet with him right now, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, chilling to say the least. Chilling to say the least. Again, think about the web. How you have the center of the web and it goes out. So while Peyton is the ultimate victim in this story, she is the ultimate. She nearly lost her life. It is a miracle she survived. I mean, an absolute miracle.
One more millimeter, one more time. If Morgan decided to do it 20 times, that we'd be in a really different situation here. They all would be. Bella's incredibly lucky to have survived that, and she has strength that I don't think I could either. I severed an artery in my left wrist one time falling through a coffee table, and my ex-wife saved my life because I panicked. Even with my law enforcement training, I panicked, ran around, and all the blood was splurting everywhere, which I didn't think about a tourniquet. I didn't think about calling 911. I freaked out. When you're in that situation, you don't know about that situation until you're dying. I severed an artery and I was bleeding out, and my wife saved my life. And Peyton's a strong person for making it through that. Like, I can't imagine how long she had to crawl for, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's a miracle she was found by the cyclist, because some people wouldn't pay attention. We know in this.
Imagine here's an example of the butterfly effect. Imagine if that cyclist's wife said, "You ain't going out today," or what if they got into it that morning and it was a half hour later? There's a million circumstances that happened that day where that cyclist could have been on that route at a different time where he never came across her.
Oh yeah, a lot. And also he could have just been preoccupied with his bike ride and not happened to look over and see her. There
Absolutely.
is so many miracles in this case. And out of respect for the victim, she does not want to be called Bella.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll call her Peyton. I apologize.
No, it's okay. I just want to make it clear for the chat, that, we support victims on this channel.
Yeah.
And I understand in this case there's a lot of victims, but she would be the main focus. Now let's take a glimpse of this from our friends at Explore With Us. We're only going to watch a little bit of this. And Rexy, you took the words out of my mouth. Me love you long time. Divine intervention. God has a bigger plan for Peyton. And that plan has nothing to do with psychopaths and Slender Man. Take a look at, well, I'm just going to go ahead and call it the interrogation.
Generally passive and cooperative while waiting.
Just waiting for somebody to come back to, look at a couple of things on you, okay?
Okay.
But all of a sudden, she pipes up to ask about the status of her victim.
Do you know what happened to Bella?
What happened to Bella? Is Bella your friend?
Mm-hmm. She's not Anissa. She's the one who was stabbed.
Stabbed? I'm not really sure.
Is she dead?
Okay, listen to her voice. And I understand Jeffrey has spoken to her, and she is very remorseful now. Now, if you followed this case or done any deep dives, we like to do the deep dives around here. She was not remorseful at first at all. She was almost upset that she didn't die.
I ain't gonna lie. I never watched any of this till after like our falling out and all, and this interrogation definitely shocked me on a multitude of levels, because like I said, it's the complete opposite of the individual I was dealing with at the visits and on the phone for hundreds of hours, hundreds. But to see that she came that far is mind blowing. But yeah, this it scared me. It scared the shit out of me, to be honest with you, because what you're gonna see here is scary behavior from a 12-year-old girl. I can tell you another case where there's a 15-year-old boy who killed his mom. His name is Gregory Ramos. He's a pen pal of mine. He's very similar, very cold. No emotions. Like I did, quite frankly, it frightened me. That was my friend. Yeah.
Dear God.
Wow.
Okay, so she was not remorseful in the beginning at all. She was actually, if you look, the voice is very chilling. This is the reason I do this show at 9 a.m. in the morning. No way I could ever do this show at night. Well, for one, I go to bed early, but also I didn't last night, as you know. This is nightmarish to me. Okay, nightmarish. Please listen to her voice. Is she dead?
I don't know. She was taken to the hospital. Maybe no.
What? I was just wondering.
Although mostly quiet, Morgan is curious about the procedures taking place.
Alright, you kind of try to get underneath your nails here a little bit.
What are you doing?
This is a DNA swab. This is just starting to see like maybe who you're around or who you touched a little bit earlier today.
She's noticeably fidgety and agitated, making odd, repeated arm movements, doing a sort of a dancing, shaking motion, and performing a repetitive hand motion, which could be symptoms of her mental illness. Within several weeks of her arrest, Morgan would be diagnosed with early-onset schizophrenia.
Is Christina in here? I'm wondering if she is watching this. I don't get the dancing. I don't get the hands. And I certainly don't get the emphasis on certain words. Is she dead?
I've experienced bipolar mania. It's very different to schizophrenia, but I have experienced highs to the point where I'm in my apartment dancing like the Joker in a Joker movie, or like Morgan there, for example. You feel a high that is a burst of energy into your brain that is not even comparable to any kind of drugs that I've abused in my life. That's part of what I can explain. I can't explain schizophrenics, but that's
no, and we don't give medical advice on here.
No, I'm not giving medical advice. I'm just telling
but
you.
I don't want to.
When we got someone who just came out of a traumatic experience for everybody, including her, she's in a manic state, is what is going on here. Some form of mania.
And also, I mean, for relevance, I don't want to confuse what she has going on with what anyone else has going on, if that makes sense. Because I really, right now, I really want to focus. Lisa Durr is always picking up on some of the most excellent points. This girl is asking questions about the victim, but she knows what she did and when she did it. Okay, that is very, very important. Please keep that in mind. We already heard, is she dead? Now, this isn't a concerned question. Okay? My friends, this is not a question of concern. This is not a collector. I should leave. No one told you to leave. You didn't do anything wrong. Just,
I mean, okay, listen. I come from a trolling community, so like
Well, this isn't
I
trolling.
understand. I understand. I get it. No one's gonna bother me or nothing like that. Okay, no one's gonna like.
No.
If you guys got any questions, I'll be glad to answer 'em, but like, as for like trying to challenge me what I do or whatnot, I mean, like,
No one's trying to challenge you. You're not the subject. The show is not Jeffrey. The show is Slender Man, the convicted requests release. That's what we're talking about. If you want to do a show about you and your life, send me an email and I'll bring you up. But today, what we're focused on is, should Morgan be released into society? So we're going back to again, I'm going to call it an interrogation. And when she says, is she dead? This is not a question that is phrased as a concern of her friend. She already knows what she did to her. Okay, so I want you guys to think about this. You're going to have to help me because my brain doesn't work as quick as you guys. All right. This is not a question of concern like, oh my gosh, is she dead? Is she going to be okay? It's more of a, did I get it done or not?
After her clothing is taken for evidence, an interrogator starts with opening questions to get her feeling comfortable and establish a baseline from which he will determine if future answers are truthful or not.
Everybody's been nice to you? Mm-hmm. Sounds like you've had a long day so far. Well, I'm a detective here at the Waukesha Police Department. Okay. If something happened to you with looks like two of your friends, and so I gotta talk to you about that for a little bit.
Okay.
So I got some questions for you today.
Mm-hmm.
How old are you?
I'm 12.
12. So you just had a birthday not too long ago? What'd you do for your birthday?
Mommy and I had sushi and cupcakes and Daddy.
He then starts to establish a rapport with her by asking casual questions and relating her birthday to his own daughter. He may also be having issues accepting that a seemingly sweet little girl is sitting in front of him, accused of such a horrible crime. He's likely trying to assess her mental state.
That's funny, my daughter just had her 11th birthday.
The narrator of this channel, I love this channel, by the way, he has a voice like butter. Do you know how many times in comments people have said, if you need a voice changer, I'll pay for it because your voice is annoying? Get me this guy's voice. Get me this guy's voice.
We had sushi for her birthday too. You're a year older than her though, but her birthday was last week too. Pretty close in age. It's funny that you guys both like sushi. So did you guys get presents for your birthday?
Mm-hmm.
What did you get?
Tickets to a Star Trek convention.
Where's that at?
I don't know.
When is it coming up or?
It's soon.
Do you like Star Trek?
Yeah.
When's your last day of school coming
I don't know. I'm not excited though because I like school.
up? Really? That's good. My daughter's like that.
Morgan may have liked going to school, but in a lot of ways, she didn't fit in. And reading through the legal documents for this case shows that there were several warning signs she exhibited in the classroom. Teachers say Morgan was an odd kid and a loner. Frankly, all the other kids thought she was weird, and her instructors assumed she was trying to act bizarre on purpose to gain attention. As the school year continued, however, they began to realize there may have been something more sinister brewing under the surface. But they would put the pieces together all too late. It all started with quirky but seemingly innocent behavior. One day in the beginning of the school year, Morgan chased after other kids and barked at them, an incident that one teacher only described as strange. She would run away from other kids and say Snape, the Harry Potter character, was chasing her. But her behavior was about to go from quirky to disturbing.
Okay, safe to say it did go from quirky to disturbing. She thought she was being chased. I kind of wonder, and I never like to blame the schools, but I do have to, in this instance, question, were there any counselors on staff that happened to notice this disturbing behavior? I understand they have a lot of students to keep track of, but I would think that Morgan would have stood out a little bit.
Group of girls found Morgan playing with blood in her fingers. They reported the incident to her math teacher, who proceeded to contact her mother. Morgan's mother replied that Morgan had been going on scary websites. One of these websites was the Creepypasta Wiki, a website consisting of fictional horror stories and online urban legends. The teacher suggested that Morgan no longer visit these types of websites, but it doesn't seem her advice was taken. At one point, Morgan's extreme behavior led to her suspension from school. She snuck a rubber mallet into her locker. Unfortunately for Morgan, when she opened the locker, it fell onto the ground in front of her peers, who reported it. Morgan told the principal that the mallet was for her protection. When pressed on the issue by the school counselor, she stated she only said it was for protection because she didn't know what else to say. Once she was suspended, she crumbled to the ground and cried. The principal then witnessed Morgan talking to herself and noted that it was odd enough to report this to her parents as well.
Okay, so that answers my question about the school counselors. We don't bring rubber mallets to school. Before I get to the next segment in this most disturbing case, can we have an internet group hug for Green Eyes? He is in a really foul mood today. Can everyone just give a shout out to Green Eyes and say, "We love you, Green Eyes"? No, Brooks does not want to lock up toddlers. Everybody, let's put some hug emojis up for Green Eyes. Now, Jeffrey, let me ask you about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something was definitely brewing for her to think she's being chased, bringing rubber mallets to school for her protection. She gets suspended. She crumbles. Then we get into the Slender Man obsession, to where she thinks that Slender Man needs to be appeased by a sacrifice.
Okay, so I
case study that the FBI put out.
What was the question exactly?
I'm just getting your feedback right now, and you're not in the hot seat or anything. This is just your opinion.
As for I'll tell you an experience I had with her at one time. A lot of times, well, I visited her 4 times, and 3 of the 4 times, she would see me right away, and she'd run up and hug me, and that was kind of the routine. Okay, it wasn't a big deal. I didn't find it a big ordeal. Well, a different time, it was the 3rd time I visited her. She had her back to me, and she was on, about 50 yards ahead of me, and I walked up to her, and she was speaking out loud. And I sat there for about 5 minutes, and I watched her, observe her. I'm not going to interact. I already know she's schizophrenic. I'm not going to bother her. I'm going to see where this goes. I'm going to see what she's doing. Basically what she was doing was she was looking out the window, talking to like imaginary animals. And she had like voices, for them. I know it sounds scary to the average person, but to me, it wasn't. I do understand mental health, or not, maybe not understand full. I don't understand it fully, but I relate with it, and I have empathy for it. Maybe. So when she turned around, she looked embarrassed for a minute, but then she, ran up and hugged me. But that was a moment where I knew she was in a state where she does believe in it. It's written in there. She believed Ninja Turtles were real. Just really odd stuff. And to this day, she does have episodes. I mean, just because you take medication every day does not mean schizophrenia goes away.
And who can watch her 24/7? Like I said about Bill, who's watching.
I think Bill and Anita. I'm sorry I keep talking. I'm sorry I talk over you. It's a bad, horrible habit of mine, and I apologize to the chat. I know that's rude. I apologize.
You're giving us a lot of insight. There's no reason to apologize. Who you write to, who you go visit is not our business, but we're talking, about
this is different. This is very different. Okay, usually I write and I never ever get on any kind of personal level. They might know I have kids, or they might know this or that about me. Maybe they might know about my job, even my old job that I once had, but they do not get to know basically everything about my life. 42 years of life stories Morgan listened to, and I listened to all of her life stories. It's what friends do. We just talked and bonded over maybe our mental health, or maybe things that went on in our house growing up. She is a schizophrenic, and she did something incredibly horrible, but she suffered greatly before that day. That day that she committed that crime was completely awful, and she'll never forgive herself. She never will. I don't know if she should even forgive herself ever. She probably shouldn't. But yeah, Bill and Anissa have a lot better situation, and that's the only thing I believe that is holding her back from freedom. I don't think she's a threat physically to anybody. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I do think that her Anissa's situation being looked over is what got her out. I don't know if Morgan, will ever be in that situation where she'll have that support system like that.
Well, and I don't think it's just going to be so open and shut. They're going to say, "Oh, okay, yeah, she's better now. We're going to let her go." It's going to take a lot of experts.
There's 3 psychiatrists that got to actually boards. They gotta work together and determine if she's safe or not. It's the same psychiatrist she's been working with her whole entire time she's been there. Yeah, I there's no telling, but
Well, we can't predict the future.
no, not at all. Absolutely not.
All right, let's hear from Peyton. This is an interview that she did on ABC, and she describes what she went through, and it is horrible, and it is heartbreaking. And this is going to be taken into consideration before anyone releases Morgan. I'm still shocked as shit that they let Anissa out.
It's kind of like a almost not a loophole in the system. I'm not gonna say it's a loophole. I will say it's a misjudgment in our judicial system where these two girls. Hey, she's my friend, and I do want to see her live a life one day. But I also do not want to see either one of them reoffend, because it's going to make our government look like idiots. I can tell you so many cases. There's a case right now where there's a woman getting out where she killed possibly up to 10 kids. Her name's Kim Sayans. Like, this woman set fires to houses, killing 3 over here, killed 2 over here. Like, our judicial system is really flawed. Kim got away with 8 or 9 of these murders by pleading guilty to a current murder, and now she served out the time of her current murder, and now she gets away with all 10 murders, and she's going to be out this year in New York. So watch out if you live in New York.
Well, and different states have different
exactly. Yep. I don't like I
release, because let me tell you, we live in a real sick ass society where a dog gets put down for biting a child, killing a child, attacking a human. They get put down, but pedophiles just get monitored.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna tell you what, Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department. I'm not a fan of law enforcement anymore, people. Okay, I'm just not. I've seen too much. I'm not a fan. Okay, I watched pedophiles.
And we thank you for your service, and we back the blue, but it's not back the blue no matter who. So go ahead.
Thank you. I watched pedophiles come into the jails, go in there. I'm sorry, guilty as fuck. And it doesn't even matter if they get found guilty. Even if they were found guilty, I see pedophiles doing 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then they're released with generic supervision. Meanwhile, Jose down the street, he sold a pound of weed to whoever, and he's doing 7 years in Wisconsin because that's a big time felony. Like Wisconsin's illegal; you can't like have any weed. So like if you got a pound of weed, you're in big trouble. But like if you commit a crime on a child, God forbid, you get out in a year to not even sometimes 9 months. I witnessed it over and over again. I'm disgusted by Wisconsin's laws.
The most you get, no matter what state, is a visit from the local PD before Halloween to say you better not have your light on and you better not be handing out candy.
Yeah, exactly.
Disgusting.
The words United States bother me because we're anything but united. We have a million different rules and a million different laws in every state. And if you drive all over the United States, you better know your laws and punishments for those laws.
Sure. And it's a real pet peeve of mine when people say, well, here in Illinois, I know someone, and this is what happened to them. I'm like, you're talking about a different state. You're talking about a different county. You're talking about a different town. You can't compare it to what's going on, say, in Idaho.
And a different judge, you pissed off the wrong judge because you gave him a nasty look. Every case and every situation is different, you know.
And it's never going to be federal all across the board because, well, it's just not going to happen that way. Every state does things a different way. So anyway, I'm still on the fence. Wisconsin made the right decision with Anissa and Morgan.
I'll say no, and that's my friend in there, okay? And I do want to see her live a life one day, but that was only 10 years ago. Let's be realistic. Is she a much different person? Absolutely. Do I feel safe around Morgan? Absolutely. Will I hang out with Morgan in the real world? Absolutely. But she almost killed somebody, okay?
And that was her intention.
And that was their intention. Absolutely. Both of them, I mean, they both, yeah.
Their intention wasn't to go play hide and seek and scare her.
Yeah, they both got off very, very lightly. Winnebago, you wear your regular clothes. It's not jail, people. It's hanging out with 30 patients, going to groups, learning how to cope with your mental health and opening up in therapies and stuff like that. But it's not jail, okay? It's not prison. Matter of fact, I mean, you get radios. She had the last visit. She brought her iPod. She's showing me off all the songs on her iPod. Like she had an iPod with like 500 songs on it. Like,
geez, they still have those. My kids had tons of them. I think I sold them in a garage sale.
I think all the iPods went to Winnebago mental health patients or something. I don't know, but Morgan had an iPod on her. Yeah, yeah, iPods.
Okay, so this is in Peyton's words.
Okay.
Do you feel like you're a survivor?
Yeah, I shouldn't be alive. I really shouldn't after what happened.
For the first time, Peyton Leichner is talking about that day 5 years ago. 3 12-year-olds at a slumber party, and the next morning, a walk into the woods to play hide and seek.
Do you remember leaving the park to go to the woods?
They just wanted to go on a walk, and I didn't think much of it. It's just a walk. It's in Waukesha. Like, what bad stuff happens in Waukesha, Wisconsin?
Peyton was stabbed 19 times and left for dead by her own friends, who later blamed the fictional character, Slender Man.
Morgan handed me the knife, and then I started to count again. When I was 5 feet away, I said, now, go ballistic, go crazy, stab, 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 stab.
The suspect lured the victim into the woods. All 3 of the girls are 12 years old.
Who's ever heard of 2 12-year-old girls planning for 6 months to kill one of their best friends?
The whole time.
Planning for 6 months. I do understand that there is a diagnosis on each of them. When speaking with the detective, stab, stab, stab. 6 months they planned this.
That was scary.
That is beyond scary.
The way she would like stabbing into air, like, yeah, it scared me a little bit when I watched these interrogations.
I mean, early onset or not, this is half a year of planning. Okay, we already heard her say, is she dead? Again, it's not oh my gosh, is she okay? Did she survive? It was more of a
disappointment.
because
Almost.
a
Yeah.
lot of their drawings.
That's Morgan right there drawing that. I guarantee that. I could tell.
Yeah. And they were putting things on dolls where to hurt. Supplies necessary. Pepper spray. Then in parentheses it says Jeff. Not you, Jeff. Another Jeff.
Oh no, I didn't know her. That's her. That's a piece of her artwork now.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
They needed the map of the forest, camera, a spray bottle, and then in parentheses it says bin. Now these are people that supposedly, if I'm reading it correctly, report back to Slender Man for them. This looks like it says cheesecake. I can't make sense of that one. The will to live. Well, that obviously got passed on to Peyton. Weapons, it says right there, kitchen knife and flashlight. This is a lot of planning. Sloppy, but they were planning it.
Peyton was screaming in agony. I didn't want to do this. I was afraid of what would happen if I didn't.
It's Friday night in Waukesha, Wisconsin, a Milwaukee suburb. Peyton is getting ready to celebrate her best friend Morgan Geyser's birthday at that slumber party.
Peyton was so excited.
The girls met in 4th grade. Peyton drawn to Morgan because she was a loner who needed a friend.
I made friends with her when I saw that she didn't have any friends at all.
Also at that sleepover, Anissa Wire, who was new to the school and who had grown close to Morgan.
They played up in Morgan's bedroom, ran up and down the stairs, giggling and laughing, and I mean, it was just a normal night.
But there was nothing normal about what happened the next morning when Morgan and Anissa.
Lisa Durr, love you, love you, love you. This was actually brought up at the trial. If this was only a mental health diagnosis, there would not have been half a year of pre-planning. There would not have been the plan to play hide and seek in the woods with such meticulous writing down of what they needed. If this was mental health, the snap would have happened at the house. It would not have been so meticulously planned. And that comes from an expert, not me. Again, there's no DR in front of my name, and there's no MD or PhD at the end.
Lisa suggests they all go to the park and then to the woods together.
Anissa told me to lie on the ground and like cover myself in like sticks and leaves and stuff, but it was really just a trick.
While playing hide and seek, then came Anissa's command, and Morgan attacks Peyton with a knife.
Morgan said, "Don't be afraid, I'm only a little kitty cat," and jumped on top of Bella and stabbed her repeatedly.
And do you remember when it started?
Kind of. I didn't feel anything because my body was in shock. So they told me to lay down, you'll lose blood slower. Like, we're gonna go get help.
Did she try to get up? Yeah, she tried to get up. She said that she couldn't see.
Very detached. Very, very detached. They seem a little disappointed that the job was not done. We have several people in here that currently live in Wisconsin, or it is their home state. And as of right now, I don't even see one of them that says, we want Morgan out and we're still pissed that Anissa's out.
She couldn't walk and that she couldn't breathe.
And they told her they were going to go get her help. But Anissa flat out said, no, we weren't getting her help. We wanted her to die.
I got up and then just walked until I hit a patch of grass where I could lay down.
A bicyclist notices Peyton bloodied and lying in the grass. He calls 911. Officer Dan Klein is the first on the scene.
I asked her who did this, and she told me her friend Morgan.
Peyton tells paramedics she's been stabbed.
They asked how long was the knife, and she said that the knife is about like this. And she was talking about the blade, not the handle.
Her mother rushes to the hospital just before Peyton is taken into surgery.
I said, "You're going to be okay. It's going to be fine." But I could see that she was covered. Her arms and her legs and her abdomen, they were covered in stab wounds.
The surgeon treating Peyton told me if the stab wound to the chest had been the width of a human hair deeper, she would not have survived.
The width of a human hair deeper, she would not have survived. Imagine Peyton laying there with her wounds, and she sees her two friends walking away, leaving her to demise. That is heinous. That is heinous. Let's do a poll. If this was your community and you lived right there where that red spot is, would you feel safe with Morgan being out and about? Put a 1 for yes and a 2 for no. Again, this is just our opinion.
While Peyton fights for her life, police are searching everywhere for the two girls.
It was about 2:53 in the afternoon. I had gotten a message that the sheriff's department had located the girls on the side of I-94. They were sitting on the side of the freeway.
By the time we found them, they had walked about 5 hours and made it to the north end of our city.
Morgan Geyser and Anissa Wire are brought back to the Waukesha police station for questioning.
Their demeanor was very calm. They seemed kind of meek.
Your parents know that you're here talking to me, okay? And I'm glad they're so glad that you're safe.
I did notice she had a blood stain on the front of her shirt, and she was wearing 2 shirts.
Okay, what is your name? Anissa Wire.
Morgan seemed like she was very calm, very relaxed. I mean, she's at a police department and she's covered in blood. And
Obviously, totally different ages and different cases. But this so much reminds me of when Jodi Arias was left in the interrogation room. She was dancing, she was singing, she was picking at her nails, she was doing a handstand.
Do you think they ever realized they were being recorded and put on a show? I'm just asking. I don't think Morgan was that, but maybe Jodi might have been putting on a show. I don't think Morgan was. I think Morgan was out of her mind.
I think Jodi was trying to look out of her mind.
Yeah, that's what I think too. But it does remind me of that. You're right. All right, let me go on mute.
this is like a normal day for her.
You can hear Morgan ask what's happened to Peyton using her nickname, Bella.
Is she dead?
I don't know. She was taken to the hospital.
What? I was just wondering.
It didn't seem like it really concerned her too much if she was dead or.
If we're watching this, Peyton has watched it. Peyton's parents have watched it. The cyclist has watched it. The teachers, the administration, the children that went to school with Morgan and Anissa are watching it. So when you hear Morgan go, "I was just wondering," that's a different type of sadistic in my book. Sorry, but that is some scary shit. I'm glad she's doing better. Glad she's on medication. Glad she's got her groups. Glad she gets her hug and a pill every day. But this is not okay in my America.
Very relaxed. I mean, she's at a police department and she's covered in blood. And this is like a normal day for her.
You can hear Morgan ask what's happened to Peyton using her nickname, Bella.
Is she dead?
I don't know. If you want to take her to the hospital,
What? I was just wondering.
It didn't seem like
That is haunting. I was just wondering, is she dead? I was just wondering.
If that's not like a perfect almost a horror movie voice like that creepy shit that horror producers spend millions of dollars to produce was that voice right there. She doesn't sound like this, by the way, in real life. Obviously, she's growing up, but yeah, that voice is creepy and it's frightening even for me.
It is frightening. And honestly, I don't know how you hold it together, sitting across from her, knowing that what she was.
I sat right next to her. There's physical contact there. I had not for a second did this girl show her face. It's 10 years later.
Oh yeah. And it's haunting. It's haunting the amount of disappointment in her voice.
Yeah, that's the thing that's the scariest. She's disappointed that she didn't get it done. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because Slender Man was waiting on it. Slender Man was waiting on the sacrifice.
it really concerned her too much if she was dead or alive.
The detectives read the girls their rights.
You have the right to remain silent.
Here in the state of Wisconsin, a child can be interrogated without the presence of their parent or guardian being in the room. At that time, I did not know that.
We find that people are more truthful when they don't have their parents present.
This is going to get me arrested, isn't it?
The interrogations last for hours.
Okay, right there. This is going to get me arrested, isn't it? So she understands the consequences of her actions. She's got that put together. This is going to get me arrested, isn't it? And if she does get out, hell, she can do voiceovers for horror movies.
There you go. No, she couldn't. She's not going to do that. She did tell me more than one occasion that I'm not saying she never came out and said I did this for this reason, but she did tell me that that the after effects of years ago going by of abuse, that she felt safer institutionalized than she did previous the day that this happened. She felt incredibly unsafe at home. She feels safer in an institution than she felt at home. But now that her quote unquote monster is gone, she feels okay to be released now. Yeah.
And she doesn't get to make that decision. Professionals have to make that decision because she may think she's okay, but they're going to have to do a lot of testing on her, because everything you get from the interrogation shows that she fully understands what she did, and in her mind she knows the reasoning. Does it make sense? Nope. Is it sane? In her mind it is, because she knows the right questions to ask. She just doesn't really know how to deflect to the right answer. Instead of saying, is she okay? It's, is she dead? I was just wondering. That is creepy. That is creepy.
I'll get a little bit more comfortable here.
I have a daughter that's almost the same age as her. Like, she could be my daughter, but then she started saying things that were really very eerie, hearing them coming out of a 12-year-old's mouth.
So did you guys talk about doing this beforehand?
Anisha told me we had to.
Why?
Because she said that he'd kill our families.
Who's he?
A man. I didn't know him, but Anisha knew him.
And this is where the story takes another turn to a fictional character on the internet.
There's this website called the Creepypasta Wiki. Okay. It's full of horror stories that are meant to purposely scare you. And there's one of them called Slenderman.
Who's Slender Man?
He's this tall, faceless man who preys on children. At his own will, he can exploit these tendrils from his back and strangle his victims. For Golden Creepypasta, when he said he targets children most.
Anissa explained to me that to prove yourself worthy to Slender, you would have to kill somebody.
Morgan then said, "We have to kill Bella."
When we come back.
And that's where it's at.
All right.
Now, this could be internet rumor. This could be true. You never know. But there were reports of animals that were harmed in the months leading up to the horrific attack on Peyton.
I've never heard that. Where have you heard that?
That's just, I believe everything I read on the internet.
No, I've never heard that. I mean, I don't know what I mean. I literally didn't even know the case until I met her. After I met her, mind you. I only knew the very, very brief. You know what I knew when I met Morgan? This is what I knew. There was I knew about the Slender Man thing, which is how you identify Morgan. So I knew there was a Slender Man character, fictional, that these two girls were gonna commit a murder to impress this guy, and that's it. I got her name, and I wrote her, and I got to talking to her, and I was, before you know it, I'm right there standing in front of her, getting to know her right face to face instead of on the phone or letter. Where are you when you start? I've only been talking to her since so it was January of 2020, no, it would have been December of 2022-ish, maybe. It's only like a year. I've only known her for like a year and a year and 2 months. And we don't even talk currently, so it's not like I currently am speaking with her. I actually just wrote her a letter for the first time in 4 months, wishing her well and telling her she can call me. She knows my number, and that's about it.
Well, and if she does get out and she does want to meet up with you, as you have stated on here before, this is just my opinion. I don't run your life, not my business. I would just be real careful around her.
Certainly, I do live life a little bit different than the average person. I have seen quite a few people in here. They're kind of curious. They find me a little maybe different. My name is Jeffrey. My last name is listen, I'm all over YouTube. If you type in the name Jeffrey Pagel, Pagel, you will see a million videos about me. I live a life a little different. This is a hobby I picked up a year and a half ago. Yeah, I would definitely hang out with her. Just know I am trained in I went through multiple academies for law enforcement. I can become a cop anywhere in Wisconsin on paper. I've never committed a crime in my entire life. I've never been booked. I've never been arrested. There's nothing like that in my life other than mental health breakdowns on my own, to be honest, after a divorce. But yeah, I don't. Are you on mute?
Oh, geez, and I was saying genius things too, and I was on mute.
Were you? Oh, dang it!
Oh, I'll tell you what, guys, let's have a huge round of applause for our friend Jeff. Jeff, this has been beyond enlightening, and I just, you stuck your neck out to give us insight about Morgan, and I absolutely just loved the insight. Very, very insightful. Now, I'm going to be doing a show next week or the week after, and I have your email about Sarah Boone. I know that you're in contact with her, and if you could come up and we could talk about Sawa.
I'm down. I'm down. I've actually been subbed to your channel for a while. I do lyric a lot. That's my thing. I lyric a lot. I listen to podcasts while I'm writing. So while I'm writing, I'm listening literally to this channel or other channels around, the communities.
It's been February was a crazy month, but anyway, we just keep plugging along. Again, thank you so much for coming up.
Thank you for having me. You guys all have a good day and take care and be safe.
Again, thank you for coming up.
Thank you all for respecting me. I know, a couple people are a little about me, but it's okay. I do get a lot of judgment passed my way, and it comes with the territory. It is what it is. But you guys all have a great day, and anytime you need me or want to contact me about anything related to Sarah Boone, Morgan Geyser, or countless other people that I'll tell you about. Maybe we can do streams or something. I can tell you all kinds of stuff about people, but not as much as Morgan, because I have such a close connection with her. It's just a lot different. I appreciate you guys having me, though. I'm gonna take off.
Appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Well, I tell you what, I wasn't expecting that. I figured that we were just going to talk about Morgan getting out, and then here's someone who personally knows her. You never know what's going to happen on a live show. But I do want to thank all of you for being here very much. I know 2024, we're only a few weeks into it, has been crazy on this channel. I promise I'm going to reel it in soon. Trust me. But thank you so much. We have so many longtime members in here. New members, thank you for the super sticker, Course fan. And y'all, if you have time, please share this. On the way out, please give it a like. I didn't realize YouTube is really kind of getting after my ass right now about the algorithm, if you know what I mean. So please give it a like, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Green Eyes, big hug. I do not want to lock toddlers up. I don't know who pissed in your Cocoa Puffs, Green Eyes, but we all love you. Thank you, Mod Squad. Thank you, everybody, for your amazing comments, amazing questions, and always keeping your eye on where it needs to be, and that is the victims. Y'all have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. You guys are the best.